Welcome to the Blerdsnerds podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blerdsnerds podcast. I'm James.
I'm Jaja.
And as you can see in here, it's just us two this week. It's another boys' night. We have these about once every other week because Shannon's always bails on us. So she gets a good shout out of shade this week.
Get her.
Yeah. What was it, about 15 hours before she told us?
Definitely less than 24, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, but don't worry. We're professionals here. We know how to handle this. What's been going
She
on with
cleared
you?
the 2-hour call out time though. I give her that.
Yeah, she did her best. But it's supposedly her mom's birthday and they're going to brunch, so we can't give her too much hassle.
Yeah, happy birthday to Shannon's mom.
Yeah, happy birthday. We know she listens, so it's not your fault.
So what you been up to this week?
Pretty nerdy week actually. Well, I'm on call for work, so first and foremost, I'm the backup person, but it's been hectic. So I just been pretty much waiting for the phone to ring. But started my new spring anime. So Windbreaker I got started on, Fire Force. There's an anime called Lazarus. I think it's coming on Adult Swim. That's pretty interesting so far. I believe 2 episodes are out. And I started MHA Vigilantes. Finished up Devil May Cry too, actually. I was low-key background watching it towards the end. And then from the Crunchyroll Anime of the Year awards, the only one I hadn't seen was Delicious in Dungeon, so I started that. I'm on like episode 3. It's I don't know if it's fully for me, but it's basically they're in a dungeon trying to cook like gourmet cuisine essentially out of like monsters. So it's pretty interesting, but like it's like slow and not slow, but it's mostly about cooking. Not that
Gotcha.
I'm not interested in cooking, but I don't know what I thought it was going to be about. But yeah, they're pretty much just trying to cook monsters into like edible food inside of a dungeon. Um, Gaming wise, just Astrobot mainly. I played some of the new season of Marvel Rivals, but new season woes. It's everybody's online trying to play the newest character, Emma Frost. So it's going to be a while before that shakes out. I haven't really done much manga reading. I've been doing a lot of book reading though. So I actually finished Children of Blood and Bone, and unfortunately Shannon's not here to talk about that. So, well, maybe we'll talk about it when she gets back. If she's here next week, because you know how she does. So,
Yep, she got 1 more week to finish the book.
yep,
An extra week.
exactly. So you're on notice, Shannon. But yeah, that's it for me. What about you?
My week hasn't been too nerdy, even though I'm still keeping up with all the gaming stuff. I watched Daredevil. So we got 1 more episode of Daredevil. I could give a quick review on that. It's pretty like the show. This past episode 8, was absolutely phenomenal. Like best episode of the season so far. Completely blows everything else out of the water. And come to find out, I don't know if you remember us talking about it when they fired the writing team and then like kind of rebooted the reboot. They pretty much brought on new people. Well, not new people. They brought on the people that were from the Netflix show, which they should have done in the beginning. And they only had to shoot episode 1. And I think they did a reshoot for one of the episodes in between 2 through 7, but they really only did 1, 8, and 9.
Gotcha.
So it kind of makes sense to me because the first episode hooked me, and it even had one of those hallway fighting scenes. I think I mentioned it on the pod when I saw it. I was like, oh, this reminds me of the Netflix movie series with the hallway fighting scene. And then 2 through 7 was kind of like, this is okay. You know, some of the plot, like, they didn't talk about Foggy much in 2 through 7 and stuff that happened in the first episode. And then 8 is just a mind-blowing episode. So it makes sense. And I'm looking forward to season 2 because they're supposed to be in charge of season 2 as well. And we're probably going to get back to the Netflix style of Daredevil. And yeah, so the show is definitely picking up steam. The 9th episode is probably going to be phenomenal too. So I can't wait for that.
Gotcha.
Been using Solo Leveling as my workout show, so I've been watching a couple episodes of that. I'm up to where they're introducing the ants in the show, so
Oh yeah,
it kind of feels like Hunter x Hunter a little bit, but we'll see because I'm just getting into that. They just mentioned them, so I'm like, Instantly, I thought of the Chimera ants, so we'll see how that goes. But enjoying that, and then in terms of games, I'm still messing around in Anthem. And for some reason, I feel like hopping back into one of the Ghost Raycons, either Wildlands or Breakpoint. And I think like solo, I might do Breakpoint, and if I find like a team, I might do Wildlands again.
Gotcha.
And then I've been playing a lot of South of Midnight.
I was gonna
So
ask how you played it. I downloaded it, but I didn't actually get a chance to play it yet. But I do for sure plan on playing it.
so I can give my quick review of that because that's like the end of my nerdy things. This
Gotcha. Yeah,
game,
that's in our rundown. So go ahead and let's hear it.
this game is a must play. There's a
Say
lot of
no
mixed
more.
reviews online, and of course, I mean that I could have told you that before the game came out that there was going to be mixed reviews, just because
Once I
you
seen the
know how
main
the world
character,
works.
I was like, yep,
It's a black girl. She's in the South. It's like, I don't know, like a lot of people, I don't know. I played the game and the combat is fun. It's not like if you're looking for a super like complex combat system, a lot of people are comparing this to like the Dark Souls style of combat. I don't really feel like that. I feel like it's faster a little bit. And yeah, there's some combos you could do. It's not super complex, but it's enough to make the game fun. Where the game really shines though is in the story and the artwork. The game is beautiful. The
yeah.
the
I seen
type
the
of
art style. I
animation
like
they're
the art style
using,
a lot.
it is beautiful. And then the music goes with it. Like the music is so immersive. Like the mission that you're doing, the lyrics in the song that's like when I made it to chapter 5, I think there's 14 chapters, 13 chapters maybe. And the first like I would say big like kind of like story mission that you do, there's a song that plays in it that has to do with the mission. So like the lyrics of the song are telling you what's going on with what you're doing.
Nice.
And it's such a catchy song. I was singing this song for like 2, 3 days after I finished chapter 5. Like it was stuck in my head.
Gotcha. So I'm
And
starting that ASAP.
yeah, and it's kind of sad, but it was like it really adds to the game. Like it's I can't wait to like get through this game. It's really been a surprise for me. And it's only $40. Yes, it's on Game Pass. I might buy this just to support, but it's $40. I
Nice.
don't want to, I think they could have got away with $50 for this game, but for $40, I don't want to hear nobody say nothing.
And that leads into our topic of the day. So our usually boys' nights, we try to come with a good topic. So our topic today is what is the fair price of a video game in 2025? So we don't got to get it right into it, but you're saying South of Midnight at $40, that's an easy buy?
Steal. It's a steal.
Gotcha. Okay. That's going to be the theme for today. So actually, we can get into our news items here. So Nintendo, they're actually doubling down on the Mario Kart price and saying that $80 for the digital is justified.
Mhm.
Um, so that's their first time addressing sort of any of the cost controversy. Because I mean, immediately people were like, "Oh, new Mario Kart," but then they announced the price and they're like $80. So I mean, that was kind of that took away from the announcement itself. The price kind of took away from the game reveal. So I mean, it does look like a great game and all, but yeah, I think people were more shocked at the price than how much they were enthused by what the game was looking like. And their justification was that there's essentially they're saying there's a lot of content into this game, so we need to charge more.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was watching somebody and they said that the Mario Kart that came out on the Switch One, which was actually I think on the Wii, they ported it to the Switch One. If with all the downloaded DLC and all that stuff, it's pretty much an $80 game. So if Nintendo's looking at it like that, like, hey, we plan on supporting this game for this amount of years and adding all this content, and then whatever's already in the game, we know this is gonna be a open world type of like Forza Horizon style. It sounds like. Um, Maybe they're just adding the DLC prices from jump and not gonna like charge for DLC. They should say that if that's the plan. People are speculating that, but I feel like if that's the plan, they would say that
Yeah,
just
you
to
you
ease
definitely wouldn't want to put that up
people's
front.
ease people's worries about the price. But yeah, Nintendo's getting a lot of flame for the price of their system, and we all know what's going on in the politics with the tariffs and all that. So you know that plays into a part. But the fact that they didn't calculate the tariffs into the price now, and that everybody's speculating that it might go higher, is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people were already on edge about 80, so if the tariffs go into effect, it's definitely going to be more than 80. Um, as far well, digitally, I'm not sure if that would necessarily increase the cost. Somebody with a little bit more boots on the ground into gaming would have to go into that one for me. But if it's physical, tangible goods that they're tariffing, then I mean, I don't see why a digital game would increase in cost. But if they have to tariff, where they keep their servers for it, then of course, if the price probably has to go up. But also if they're including the DLC from jump in this $80, I think they should have for sure made that clear because I mean, people would have been like, oh, it's 80 and I don't have to pay for DLC later on. I don't think people would be as upset. I mean, of course, people would probably still be up in arms because $80 is still $80. But if it's $80 and that's, all content updates I already get, I don't have to worry about paying that later on. It's a little bit more justifiable for me.
Yeah, so I think they have a like a deep dive on the game coming out. I don't know if it came out already, where they're gonna showcase some of the stuff that I guess is gonna prove that it should be worth $80. So that story is to be continued.
If we continue, they are trying to make their case and say why we can do this. I feel like if they do that, then more people are going to be like, all right, well, we're going to charge this, and then we're gonna tell you why it's going to cost this much. But that's just only giving them more work to do. So that's might be the way gaming goes now. Also on Nintendo news, they're explaining why the Switch 2 won't run every original Switch game flawlessly. Um, did you read into this at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, they're saying like the software being used in the Switch 2, like they're using some type of hybrid between emulation and like backwards compatibility. I don't think it's just like the straight um emulator that came out for the Switch,
Mhm.
but it sounds like they're using that technology combined with something else to run these games. And that would explain why they made sure all the Switch emulators got shut down, or that made the big one. But it I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to make all the games backwards compatible. Like I don't know why they even Xbox struggles with this.
Yeah, I do think companies should start future-proofing some of their games because, like, a new system's going to come out eventually. So, like, let's make it as easy as possible to go backwards. If a new system does come out. But it looks like here, and they include a note. They said that based on the technology and software used, it will require so much power that the Switch 2 will have to be running at full capacity, and it'll run out of battery too quickly. So that's why they're saying they can't flawlessly port Switch 1 games to the Switch 2. It would turn into a power constraint, and then you'd have even less battery life on it. So that
And then
is definitely a concern.
for the games that they do support, you have to pay $10 or something for the upgrade
Oh
pack,
yeah, the upgrade pack.
and that's kind of silly because like if I'm playing my Switch 1 game on the Switch 2, it should automatically run better on the Switch 2, but I gotta pay for that. Like, hmm,
Yeah,
that's just
making it not backwards compatible is one thing, but then also like, all right, it's backwards compatible, but now you got to pay too. Like that's both things are crazy. Both things are indeed crazy. But again, I'm not sure exactly what goes into making something backwards compatible. So I don't know the development lift or the cost lift that it takes to do that. But I mean, it seems kind of I don't want to say standard, but like people are somewhat expecting like, hey, I have the next version of this. I should be able to play the games from the previous version. But I think we kind of just need more transparency into the gaming industry as far as what it takes to make that possible.
and just some other Switch news real quick that I don't think we went over on the pod yet. The GameCube controller is only going to work with those GameCube games.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't fully confirm it myself, but if that's the case, that also is incredibly wild because I mean, you're only able to play, a handful of games off jump because it's not coming with all the GameCube games on it, from
Mhm.
launch. But let's say you have your 4 or 5 games that like you can only use this controller for those 4 or 5 games, and then you're still using your regular Switch for everything else. It's a little insane, but I do still think the design of the controller it still looks cool. Now I can't justify the price because it's like, dang, I can only play the Switch games on it. I mean, the GameCube games on it that are part of the online console, which means I have to have the subscription still. So that's just cost on cost on cost that for me to be able to use this controller.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, one of the Nintendo Switch execs, I don't have the name of the person who said it, but he was pretty much saying if you can't afford the Switch 2, that to play the Switch One. We'll be supporting it for, years to come.
I
And
did see that.
it sounds very familiar to what our boy Don Matrick did when Xbox One came out, and it was all about TV, TV, TV. And he was like, "Oh, play Xbox 360 if you don't have an internet connection because you need internet connection for the next one." It was a very what's the word? Not I don't want to say tasteless, but he's just not. He's out of touch with what people,
Yeah, that was not a consumer friendly statement.
right.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to hear that. So they just made the same. I feel like all these companies just like make the same mistake that other companies, they all take turns making the same exact mistake.
they
Like
do.
Nintendo doing this $500 pretty much console, Xbox did it, then PlayStation did it, like, or maybe I think it's the other way around. PlayStation did it for the PlayStation 3, and I think Xbox did it for Xbox One, and now Nintendo's doing it. It's like they all trying to push the price and see which one can, which when it's gonna stick, so that they all can do it. It's really dumb.
Yep, they let one company take the heat for it, but then they follow behind like, oh yeah, hey, games just happen to cost this much now. There's nothing
Yeah,
we can do about it.
and especially this. Oh, Nintendo can do it. Oh, PlayStation and Xbox, we should be able to charge more than that because of the quality or whatever. So it's all games.
It's an evil world we're living in right now.
What else we got?
We did have some
Oh,
remasters confirmed for Switch 2.
yes, we do. So I just thought this was interesting because it's just more Sony games going to Nintendo.
Mhm.
I haven't played this game specifically. Sudoku and Sudoku 2 are going to the Switch 2. They're getting HD remasters. Um, yeah, so I just it looks like Sony is kind of quietly embracing the idea of putting their IPs on other consoles, especially Nintendo, at least, and PC.
Maybe this their sneak way of testing backwards compatibility.
Hmm.
Because I think these games initially dropped for PS2. Yeah, PS2 in 2002. Oh no, the originals dropped in 95, and then Suikoden 2 or Suikoden 3, I mean, dropped in 2002 for PS2. So that game happens to not be in the collection, but the ones coming to Switch were 95 and 96. So maybe they are experimenting just on a different platform to see what backwards compatibility can look like.
Do you think they're even thinking about putting Sony games on Xbox?
Um, Probably not properly. I definitely don't think like none of their premier first party titles, which I mean they should because you just only make more money. But as far as
Yeah, I think they're going to be a little stubborn on that topic.
yeah, as far as development goes, like there's no telling what it'll take to actually make it playable on different platforms. So I think that's part of what some of the holdup is, which also goes into like some of what is the fair price of a game nowadays? Because I mean, if you're coding it or you're developing it for one particular system, you don't know what sort of constraints you gotta factor in for other systems if you like this is only the environment that you know. Um, let's go into some TV movie stuff. So Corey Kenshin, big YouTuber, he released his own manga. It's called The Monsters We Make, I believe. I myself have, yeah, it's called Monsters We Make. I myself haven't read it. I don't really watch Corey Kenshin like that. I watch his videos here and there, but I know he's been like an OG in the YouTube game for a long, long time. So
Mhm.
yeah, one shout out to Corey Kenshin, just in general, but shout out to him making his own manga. So he went to Japan, worked with Japanese artists and the likes, to create his own manga called Monsters We Make, and it has already sold over 200,000 copies in its first week, which
Yeah,
is actually a sales record.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so
And so I'm not subscribed to him. This is gonna make me subscribe to him because I'm gonna start following him and keeping up with this, and I'm
mhm.
gonna start the manga, of course. But I did watch the trailer, and it looks pretty good. It looks like something up my alley. So I definitely want to read his manga and just like fully support this because looks like he put a lot of time and effort into this, and it's a want to support our fellow Black people doing this, and
Sure.
the anime just looks incredible. Like there's no reason to skip this one.
Yeah, and you can tell it wasn't like just a pure cash grab. Like he took, I want to say a year and a half off of YouTube like working on this. So like he took time from like his bread and butter to like do this essentially side project that I mean is like he's putting real care into it. So um people can't say, oh, he was just, cash grabbing. Like if you look at the quality of it, it looks like he truly took his time to curate something great here. So I definitely would be interested in checking it out. I think I definitely will. I for sure didn't pre-order it though, so I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere. But yeah, I'd purchase a copy, see how
Yeah,
the
I was
first
about to
volume
say
went.
I might have to purchase at least the first like chapter or volume of this because yeah, it
Yep,
might
and
go down in history.
it's an independent too, so it broke an independent sales record. So he's not attached to some giant publisher, so you don't have to go through like Viz or Shueisha to kind of read this. You can just pick it up, and then I don't want to say all proceeds go to Corey Kitchen, but the independent studio that was working on it, they get a bigger piece of the pie because they don't have the big publisher backing them. So yeah, shout out Corey Kitchen. There is backlash, of course, because it's a black person. So I mean, anything black people do will tend to get backlash. But people are they're arguing that it's not a manga. They're saying it's a comic. But um, some some
Really,
linguists have
that's what we're
stepped in
doing
and
now.
said, yeah, linguists have stepped in and said manga translated to English is literally comic. So what are we doing here? And he was in Japan making it with
Hmm.
Japanese artists and stuff. So like where do we draw the line? I think for a lot of people they draw the line at a certain color of person. But nah, shout out Corey Kenshin and his manga because it is a manga and it was originated in Japan itself. So
Hopefully, we see him at the cons or people dressing up as his characters at the cons.
oh for sure. What else do we have here? Oh, we have Ianu. Have you had a chance to check it out yet?
It's high on my list. I haven't watched any of it yet, but I know you were talking about this a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, so it started last week. Actually wasn't able to check out the episode that dropped yesterday. So, well, Saturday. So it drops Saturdays at 9 a.m. or 9:30 Eastern. So I haven't had a track meet, so I wasn't able to watch it live. So, but it comes on Max the following day. So probably later today I'll check it out. But um, screen right here is saying that it's a bend between The Last Airbender and Black Panther. And watching it, I immediately got, okay, this is kind of like Avatar because it she has like an Avatar state essentially where like her
Okay.
eyes glow. She doesn't have tattoos, but she does have like beads on her head. I don't know if they're
Hmm.
beads, but basically her eyes glow and then she has like glowing stuff, and that's when she's in a more powerful form. She and like her hand tattoos glow and stuff like that too. So um yeah, it's definitely I would say it's aimed at a younger demographic, but it's definitely for fans of all ages. But I feel like the main audience is probably a younger skew. And then that could for sure help with toy sales, which I think is factors into do things continue to get funded for more projects. But yeah, I definitely think people should check this one out.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that it's getting good reviews. Like, I mean, I haven't researched it like that to see what other people are saying, but the fact that this popped up on my in my algorithm saying that they are like highly recommending the show, and just looking at the screenshots, yeah, the glowing eyes is kind of reminiscent of the Avatar a little bit, and even like this overshot of the whole city. I guess it has the walls, the circular walls with
Oh yeah, like
different
Bossing Say.
layers. I have to remind that's
Oh
Attack
man,
on Titan. I gotta
yeah,
call it out when I see it. It's gonna hate me right now, but
I already knew
little
it.
Attack on Titan in there. I'm all with it. I'm all for it. So I'm definitely gonna try and catch a couple episodes of this before next week, so I could have a proper review.
Gotcha. Looking forward to your what you guys' thoughts are. I trust Shannon to watch it. Well, she watched a preview of the first one when we were at BlerdCon. So um I think she still has Max, so yeah, she could binge it too. So but yeah, it's a studio out of Nigeria making this, so it's an African made show. So
Mhm. Entirely African voice cast and creative team.
yep, so we're getting some lore from the motherland, which of course we always like to see. I do think more stories should be told from different places too. So glad to see that. All right, now we can get into the big thing here, our boys' night topic. What is the fair price of a game in 2025? All right, what all do you think goes into it, Jaja? Is it just like amount of content, how much time I can play it, replayability? Is it a mix of all things above?
I mean, it's like some games they like. This is a tough question because like for like a AAA game, quote unquote, where they're just throwing money at it, you kind of want to make your money back. So
Mhm.
they're gonna price it high just off of how much money they put into it. It don't matter the quality of the game or anything. They just trying to get their money back.
Right.
So in those scenarios, like I feel like I don't know. It's hard to judge what the game should be because like for example, like Marvel Avengers or any of these big like IPs that they just take and make multiverses, like if that costs money type of thing. Like we're just paying for Marvel characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're paying and the gameplay really takes a back seat. That changed with Rivals, I think. I think they finally got the hey, the gameplay needs to be as exciting or more exciting than the characters. In terms of the price, like because I think back in the day, like back in the days, the games were just as expensive or maybe even more expensive. Like I Genesis games used to be $80, $70. Um, but back in the day, I feel like it cost more to manufacture the cartridge. There was actual like microchips in the like actual boards in the cartridges. Like it probably cost more to manufacture a game back then than it is today. So
Mhm.
so I feel like the price, like with everything being digital and you're not having to make 100 millions and millions of copies of this physical disc and all this stuff, it should be cheaper. That's what it would make sense to me.
Yeah, so
Um,
you're taking out a huge logistical piece, so you don't have to worry about, well, I mean, unless you are still offering physical copies, like the logistics of, all right, we got to ship, these copies to these places. We got to make the artwork for the physical copies and all that kind of stuff. Because
mhm.
if you remember, like games used to come with those like actual booklets and art books.
Instruction manuals.
Yeah, the fold out maps, instruction manuals. So like all that stuff, of course, costed money. So you had to hire more artists to do that kind of thing too. Um, but now that they're not even offering those, I mean, it's essentially just your development team that's your only cost of like, development. And then of course you're talking about licensing and stuff like that. How much is it going to cost to include, these big name characters or sometimes big voice actors? So
And then
uh
the on that, the license is only for a certain amount of time. So let's say, like for example, Friday the 13th just shut down because it couldn't afford to renew the license. Now a game's just off the board just because they couldn't renew the license. No matter how good it was, no matter how fun it was, it's just like same thing with Forza. I was so mad the other day because I know we talked about Forza Horizon 4 being delisted. So I made sure I purchased that,
hmm.
but they delisted Forza Motorsport 7, I believe. I was trying to get I would like for some reason I wanted to jump into that game and I couldn't find it and I found out it was delisted. I was so upset. I was so upset that I don't own this game and now I can't play it no more.
That's sick.
And it's just for licensing probably. So it's kind of sickening a little bit.
Also, part of a piece of this is when you buy a game, you're technically licensing a copy of it. So you're more or less renting it. It's like leasing a car, basically. So you don't truly own it. You just have rights to
Permission to
play it.
drive.
Yeah, you just have permission to drive it. Yeah. So I think that also could be a factor if companies were honest about what you are getting and purchasing a game, quote unquote. Like let's say, okay, I want to truly rent this thing. What would be the price to lease it versus the price to own it? Because I mean, cars similarly, there's a price to own and a price to lease, and it's two separate tiers for sure. So, what is that a viable thing? Like, could we make that work?
And I mean, I seen somebody make a good point too, because with the deal, the game comes out, it could be $50, $60, $70. Then you got all these DLCs and adding like character clothes and maps and all this stuff that adds to the game. And it's gonna cost extra money, so making the price go up. And then let's say when all the updates come out, they come out with this, oh, this is the complete edition, and it's like a $60 game. It's like
You're right.
that's what the game should have cost me in the first place.
Exactly.
So it's really like a predatory like system they got right now with like we didn't even get to microtransactions, but just like the DLCs and just trying to nickel and dime the consumer I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know how much work it is to them to do that.
it's a psychological piece that goes into it because some people want to play it right when it drops. So I mean, whatever the price is when it drops, some people are like, okay, I got to play it now. If it costs 70 when it drops, I'm gonna drop to 70. But if you don't mind waiting a little while longer, you can get a complete edition like you mentioned, and then pay even less than what it cost at launch. So for instance, Horizon, the second one, I got the complete edition. I think it cost me $50 or $60. So I mean, that includes the DLC, which when that dropped,
Hmm.
I believe the DLC was like 20. So if I'd have dropped, 70 at launch plus a 20, that'd have been $90. I saved at least $30 by waiting. This was I bought it probably 2 years after it came out. So I mean, 2 years, what $30, that doesn't sound like a big savings, but I mean, it wasn't something that I was on my radar when it first dropped because I wasn't hip to the first one. But yeah, I mean, 2 years later, I paid less than retail for the full thing. There is that psychological piece of all right, people are going to have FOMO. They want it now. We can charge this price, and they'll pay it because they want to play.
And not to mention, a lot of these games come out broken, and they need
Yeah,
day one patches. Like, when did that become the norm?
that
To
is the
just
norm, honestly. It seems like they're beta testing some of these games at
right.
launch, and people already put their money in it. So they're like, I will we'll have them pay it, get a little bit more money, and then we can finish, and then we'll make it unavailable and go on to our next project. Because the way some of these games are going offline, like immediately, it seems like it's some treachery afoot.
And it's like I was talking about the group Insignia, right? Who brought back the original Xbox Live for the OG Xbox.
Mhm.
Like, if it's, I'm pretty sure they're not charging for it. So I'm like, where are they making their money? And this can't be something that hard to do. Like, why did the service have to go down in the first place if this group of programmers could just bring it back up and revive it and have it running today? Like, why did it have to go down in the first place? I don't understand that.
Corporate greed. Here's a question for you though. So back in the day, there was variable pricing for games. Like some games would just cost different price points. I know this was at least like PS1 and 64 generation. They were, different games cost different amounts. Do you think we could bring that back today at like in a fair way?
Well, I think to some extent it is happening today because, like I
Yeah,
said, South of Midnight is $40. You got Tales of Kenzara, which came out $20. I think it should have been just as much as Ori and the Wisp and Hollow Knight and all the Metrovanias that are like it. I think Tales of
Mhm.
Kenzara should have cost just as much as that. We got another game, Creatures of Ava, that was a black main character where you're going around collecting. It's like a monster collector, and that's $25. So I know I just highlighted like three like black games where the main character's black and stuff, and that's also something I wanted to bring up, like why we got to discount our games. It seems like I got to do
Yeah,
a little bit more research, but just these three, like that I'm seeing, I'm like, wow, these aren't even the most one. The most expensive one was South of Midnight, which is $40. Like, so yeah, I feel like to some extent we do have like variable pricing. It's just the
it typically
game.
comes from indie studios. So I think if companies were, honest and upfront about, here's how much content you'll be getting, we're gonna set it at this price point. I think people wouldn't be as hesitant because South of Midnight, you said $40. You said that's a good spin. Astrobot, it was I want to say 60, so it wasn't a full priced game, but like the amount of play that I'm getting out of it, I think I'm about 30 hours in, still haven't collected everything yet. Um, like I think that was a fair price point for that game. Um, I don't think I would have been mad if I dropped 70 on it, but it would have took me longer to buy it if I would have had to pay that much for it because I was like, all right, how much am I really going to be able to play for my $70 worth of this game? That's a platformer. And I think genres
And
of
okay,
games probably would
I'll
have
adjust my
different
take a
tiers.
little bit. It seems like the Metrovanias are all like cheap.
Oh, gotcha.
So I just looked up the newest Ori that came out. I think it's like $20, and then Hollow Knight. Um, I'm seeing it for $15, but it's on sale for like $12 right now. So yeah, I don't know if it's that Metrovania like they consider is shouldn't be $60, or Yeah, it's I feel like we do have variable pricing right now. It's just there's not a lot of like I hate to use the term double A, but I feel like there's either triple A or like A or in you
Yeah.
know what I mean? We lost those like South of Midnight to me is a very good double A. I would call it a double A game. It's a quick like a lot of people like the average time they're saying with everything, you can get the full game done in 10 hours. I'm not mad at a game that I could finish in 10 hours, $40 and move on to the next game instead of trying to suck my whole life away and not want me to play anything else.
Right.
So yeah, I
Not
kind
every
of miss
game has
those
to be
games where
50
you
hours
can
long. Yeah.
yeah. And like I miss those games where you could just complete the story. It was a great story, impactful, like you learn from the story and everything. And you can move on to the next game. But I don't want to be a hypocrite because I just said that I'm going back to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. There are games that I go back to, like Destiny, that you built this character up,
Mhm.
and now like you want to still play the game is fun, so you just you're still playing the game. But those games tend to be just fun games in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
So
and fun is hard to put a price on because like if I'm having fun with something, it doesn't matter, you know. Like I'm having a lot of fun on Astrobot. I'm just running and jumping versus, something like Marvel Rivals. I got, a team of 5 other people with me. We're doing something competitive. Like it's different types of fun, but I'm, having fun. And Marvel Rivals was free. I mean, I'm buying the battle passes still because I just like the game that much. But that's on me. If I wanted to play it completely free, I could play, completely free and still have a ball. But it's hard to put a price on fun.
it is, and I mean, a lot of people are giving South of Midnight black because they're looking at the Steam numbers and how many concurrent players are on Steam. And I think it debuted with like under 2,000 and it's like been going down. And of course, we don't have the Xbox Game Pass numbers, which I'm kind of happy about in this scenario because I'm like, who cares how many players are playing the game? Do you like the game?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. It could be
that's all that
2,000
matters.
people playing. It could be 10,000 people playing. And it's a single player game too. So like, what does it matter that, 8,000 other people are playing this with me if I'm, in my single player game? If it's, something multiplayer live service where player count is actually affects my quality of play, like I'm waiting in, 10 minutes to get a game to go, then, that's something that's a totally different, um, it's a totally
And
different argument there. But
I hate to say this, but like I feel like um I'm trying to find a politically correct way to say this, but like this game is geared towards a certain audience, and I can understand the other audience not messing with it. Like it's not gonna connect with you because this is just not you. Like that's
yeah,
I don't want to specify the audience because I don't think it's just black
yeah,
because there's a lot of white people who live in the South, in the swamps and stuff like that. Like so and it's funny because like in the game you meet her mom and you meet a black neighbor, but like the rest of the people are white so far for chap since I've been the rest of the characters that I'm meeting
mhm,
are white characters. So I don't want to like say this is only for black people, but like it has a certain flavor that I don't think a lot of people would connect to. So I
yeah.
understand it.
Nah, it's definitely a specific story. And I think specific stories need to be told for, specific audience. Like everything is not going to be for everybody, and everybody's not going to enjoy everything. So I don't see why people, jump in and bash things that aren't, they're not the target demographic for. Like, hey, these people are enjoying this thing. It wasn't made for me. Let it be. But we're coming up on time here, folks. We're gonna have to do a part 2. Shannon, we got
Mm-hmm.
to do a part 2.
To be continued.
So if you're following us on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you listen on any sort of podcast app of choice, like, subscribe, let us know you want to do part 2. And we're out of here.
Yes. Have a good
Peace.
one. Peace.